Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you to yet another concept classes for Sociology Optional by Sunya IAS. And friends, today we're going to talk about a very easy concept, that is science and scientific method. And this concept is very easy yet very important, because time and again UPSC has been asking questions from this particular topic time and again. Okay, and this topic we study in our paper 1 unit 2. We will look into the possibility of whether the science and the scientific methodology could be used to study society or not. So that's why it has a lot of relevance. Okay, so in today's session I'll be talking about what is science. I'll try to explain to you in a very simple layman language. Okay, and then also talking about the features of the science, and then the steps of scientific method. Okay, so let's start with the session. So the first thing first is, what is science? So science is nothing but it is a systematic body of certified and changing knowledge. Okay, science is a systematic body of certified and changing knowledge. Now let's highlight certain crucial words. I'll try to explain to you also. Just like it is certified, which means that any kind of a scientific knowledge is certified because it is backed up by facts. Backed up by facts. And facts which are true. Facts which speak for themselves. Okay, you don't need any kind of a verification for that. Just like suppose we say that sun rises from the east. So even if I close my eyes, even if I become ignorant of that fact, it will always remain true. Okay, provided that everybody have this shared notion that this is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. So sun will always rise from the east. Okay, so because this is a kind of a scientific, you can say, knowledge which is backed by facts, which is true. It, these facts which speak for itself. It doesn't need any kind of a verification. It's a changing knowledge. Now I'll tell you how it is a changing knowledge. Now suppose there's already a kind of a universal law that is applicable everywhere. That's what scientific community basically believes, right? Now all of a sudden a researcher conducts an experiment and he come across some certain new facts which contradicts the existing law. Now that law has to be changed, modified, or nudged accordingly so that it comes in sync with the discovered fact. So this is why you can say that the scientific knowledge keeps on changing. Now here I'll give an example. I hope you'll be able to appreciate it. Suppose as a researcher conducts an experiment, he starts to boil the water, and he observes that water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. So this was kind of a first experiment, and now this is commonly accepted by all the members of the scientific community, all the members, even the common members, that water starts boiling at 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, now all of a sudden another researchers conduct an experiment, and he starts to boil the water at higher altitude, maybe in the hilly region, right? So there he observes that water boils at below 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, now here this scientific knowledge that we had earlier, that water always boils at 100 degrees centigrade, it changes, it bifurcates into two parts. This is first law, this becomes the second law, that water boils below 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, now again suppose yet another researcher went to this is probably a hilly area. Now yet another researcher, okay, who adds certain impurity in the water and starts boiling it. Now he founds that water, when there is an impurity, it boils above 100 degrees centigrade because of the presence of impurity. So again the scientific knowledge has changed, okay, because of the presence of impurity. So this is what you can say is a changing knowledge. It keeps on changing in case any kind of a new fact has been discovered, to keep in sync with the observed or discovered fact. Okay, so this was about the science. Okay, it's a certified and changing knowledge, and you can use this definition verbatim to verbatim, and along with this you can give an example also. It will going to give it's going to enhance your content a lot. Now this science, okay, science is what? Science Yet another thing you can say is that it's basically a natural science, right? It's a natural science where there's a systematic, methods that you need to follow. Then you can arrive at law-like generalization. There are various kind of natural sciences. Okay, various kind of natural sciences, just like physics. I hope it's visible to you. Physics. Then you can also say chemistry, biology, geology. Just like physics, it always studies matter. Chemistry, it deals with the reaction between the two elements. Okay, so if you follow systematic methods, that is called scientific methods, so every time you will get the same result. So you can arrive at law-like generalization, which is universally applicable. Okay, so you can say the scientific method. Okay, I'll just erase certain part. You can with conviction say that scientific method is a method or process through which scientific knowledge is acquired. So basically this scientific method, there is this proper systematic, step-by-step method are there that you need to follow to arrive at rational explanation for any event. Just like in geology, okay, if an earthquake is happening or too much of rain is happening or there's a famine, so you're not going for a, you can say, religious or mystical or you can say supernatural explanation. You're going for a proper rational explanation, just like because of the movement of the plate tectonics, the earthquake is happening. Okay, so this is how you can talk about the natural science methods. Okay, and earlier sociologists, okay, earlier sociologists, I have mentioned few of them, just like Saint-Simon, Auguste Comte and Herbert Spencer. They were so much fascinated by natural science methodology that they want to use that natural science methodology, which has certain steps to follow, okay, and they want to use that methodology to study the science, okay, to study the society, sorry. So earlier sociologists, I'll just remove everything. These earlier sociologists, they want to use the scientific methodologies to study the society so that they can arrive at law-like generalization. And this law-like generalization, which is universally applicable, they want to use this law so that to resolve any kind of an issue that is prevalent in society, they can resolve that issue by applying simply this law. Okay, just like resolving all the issues prevalent in society, like resolve the issue of poverty, conflict, exploitation. If you're thinking about what is law-like generalization, just like in physics we have Newton's second law of motion, that is force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, this is universally applicable. Just like in chemistry also, okay, in chemistry also, suppose you are reacting element A with element B, okay, and provided the external conditions are same, every time on reaction they'll produce yet another element, that is C, provided every time the external environment remains the same, there is no catalyst added or removed, right? Just like force is equal to mass into acceleration. Just like how much force is being applied on the body depends upon the mass of the body and the acceleration applied. Just like in biology also, every time all of you might have done this, there is a dissection of the frog. So every time you dissect a frog, you'll see the same set of organs. Okay, so this is kind of a natural science methodology, right? And the same methodology they want, early sociologists, they want to apply it to study the science so that they can arrive at law-like generalization just like this. Okay, that can be applied in society to make a society a better place for human beings to live. Okay, to help society to resolve all the issues just like poverty, conflict and exploitation and many other things. Okay, so here I've mentioned certain early sociologists just like Saint-Simon. He talks about, he gave a very fancy word, that is social physics. Just like I told you, physics basically studies what? Matter, right? Matter which reacts mechanically to the external stimuli. But we humans, we have consciousness, so we react meaningfully to the external stimuli, right? So they say, or Saint-Simon basically want to use, just like he was talking about social physics. So physics means natural science methodology. So similarly, he want to use the natural science methodology that is applicable in physics. The same he want to use it in the study of the society. These words you can use it, just like Saint-Simon social physics. Then Auguste Comte basically also used static and dynamic sociology. Now static means what? Static means that deals with maintaining an order and pattern or the stability in the society. Okay, that is why it is called static sociology. Okay, order, pattern, okay, or stability in the society. What about the dynamic? Dynamic basically talks about change in society. Changes in society. Because change is in essence of life, so change will always happen. So dynamic means that how the society is changing also. Similarly, Herbert Spencer also used the organismic analogy. See the kind of fancy word these people are using. Saint-Simon social physics, Auguste Comte static and dynamic sociology, Herbert Spencer organismic analogy. Now here in organismic analogy also, actually here what happens, that Herbert Spencer was very much influenced by William Harvey, a renowned biologist, William Harvey, who decoded the whole human circulatory system. Whole human circulatory system. And he came to the conclusion that as humans are made up of, humans have so many organs and they are made up of various organs, and when each and every organ is performing its function, it not only helps in sustenance of that organ, but it also helps in survival of overall human being. So that same analogy was used by a renowned sociologist Herbert Spencer, and he says that even society consists of various parts or various institutions, just like organism is made of various organs. Okay, just like parts, you can say educational institution, political institution, social institutions, economic institutions, and when each and every institution is performing its parts, it's not only help in survival of that particular institution, but it's also help in maintaining overall order and stability in the society. So society is not merely a collection of individuals, society is far more, over and above individual. Okay, so this is how we can talk about Herbert Spencer, Auguste Comte, and Saint-Simon. Okay. Now let's talk about the characteristics of the science or the features of the science. Now these are very, very simple things. I'll just explain one by one. First one is objectivity. Now what does objectivity means? Objectivity means that you are trying to explain the phenomena as it is, okay, in an unbiased manner, in a proper balanced manner, in a, without any kind of value creeping in, okay, while giving a judgment. So it's a complete unbiased manner. You're trying to explain a phenomena. Okay, just like if I have this pen, I'm simply saying that's black. I do not have any kind of an attachment with this pen. Okay, so I'll simply say that's it's black. It's right. It is used in writing. Okay, I will not say any kind of judgment. I won't pass any kind of a judgmental, judgment thing with respect to the pen. Okay, next is verifiability. Now, what does verifiability means? Now, in science, verifiability basically means that research is backed up by fact. Okay, research is backed up by fact that speak for itself. So you can simply, anybody can check it. Okay, anybody can, you can say verify it. So research backed up by facts. Research backed up by facts. Just like I talked about, that sun rises from the east. Okay, accuracy and precision. Accuracy and precision means, I'm just combining both the words. It means that you are trying to explain the phenomena in an exact manner. There's no vague statement. Okay, there's no vague statement. You are trying to explain the phenomena in a truthful or exact manner. Truthful or exact manner, and there's no vague statement. There's no vague statement. Just like when I asked you what is the temperature of your body, you won't say that temperature of the body is high or low. You'll simply say my temperature of the body if you have a fever. So you'll say my temperature of the body is 102 degree Fahrenheit. So you're given exact truthful statement. Okay, there's no vague statement. Next is systematization. In science, you tend to give data in a systematic, arranged, coherent manner. Okay, tend to arrange data in systematic and coherent manner, so that not even a researcher but also layman person could easily understand what a researcher wants to portray. Just like you might have seen when there is a poll result announced. So what happened? All the newspaper, they start putting it in a pie chart format or table format, like which party has got how much percentage or votes, percentage of votes or absolute number of votes. So this is basically easily captured and understood by the common person also. So that's why there's a kind of systematization. Next is predictability. Now when you arrive at law-like generalization, you will be able to predict also in the what will happen in the future. Just like IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, based on the geospatial information, they'll be able to predict whether there'll be a kind of rainfall or not, okay, or whether there'll be a famine or so all those weather information will be easily disseminated or predicted also by the IMDb department, because they have a proper access to the geospatial information. Quantifiability means what? That you are able to quantify everything. Just like if you go to the gym and I have a dumbbell, I want to lift a dumbbell. So I'll simply say that dumbbell is 20 kg. I'm able to give an absolute number to this. Okay, I will not say that dumbbell is very high or is quite heavy, not that much heavy. I'm giving an absolute number to this. Just like in UPSC, in prelim examination, UPSC give a cutoff. The cutoff for the general category was 87 point something. Okay, in the prelims CS paper 1, general studies paper 1. Okay, so they are giving an absolute number to this. Okay, it can be quantified. They're not saying this very high, is very low, right? Next is reliability and validity. Now, since scientific methodology basically follows a particular kind of a steps, I'll show you the steps. Okay, so when they follow a kind of a step, so those steps, if they follow, they come to a conclusion. So similarly, what happens if other researchers also follow in a very objectified manner, in a very unbiased manner, he conducts a research and follow those steps. So these other researcher will also produce the same result. So that's why we say reliability, because it is reproducibility. If you're conducting a research in an unbiased manner and you're following the steps as it is, okay, under the similar conditions, so you're going to tend to produce the same result. That's why it's reliable. Valid means because suppose you are, you are measuring the temperature of the human body. So you're actually measuring the temperature of the human body. You're not measuring the BP or any other vital parameters. Okay, so that's why it's valid as well. Next is theoretical orientation. Now, what does theoretical orientation means? Theoretical orientation means that in science, you try to arrive at law-like generalization. Okay, you try to arrive law-like generalization, just like I talk about in physics only. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. That is Newton's second law of motion. Okay, or Newton's third law of motion basically tells what? Newton's third law of motion also says that you apply any kind of a force on other body. Okay, from body 1 to body 2, applying certain kind of forces. The amount of force F1 you are applying, the equal amount of back force is applied by body 2 to body 1. Okay, so this is force 2. So basically force 1 is equal to force 2. Right? So this is universally applicable because you can arrive at proper law-like generalization. So these are certain features. You can simply just write all these features along with examples that I've given. You can come up with more and more examples if it suits the content. That is going to enrich your content many folds. Next is certain methodology. See, when we talk about any kind of science, okay, we basically say what? We basically say that it's a kind of methodology that they are being using. Okay, it's the methodology. Now remember, I said earlier also, scientific methodology is that method or procedure that is used to acquire any kind of a scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge that have a rational explanation. It doesn't have any kind of a superficial or supernatural explanation. Okay. Now this scientific method, Okay, I'll talk about these all steps, okay, one by one. I'll just give you a brief idea. This scientific method is not new, okay. There were two Greek philosophers. The first one is Thales, who basically rejected any kind of religious explanation or superficial explanation for any kind of a natural phenomena. He said that for anything, any event that is happening in the nature has certain degree of, you can say, it has a proper rational experience or proper rational explanation. Suppose an earthquake is happening, or there's a continuous rain, or there's no rain, there's a famine. So what happened? He's saying that it is not because any god is angry. It is because it must be having some rational explanation. Some natural cause is there. Okay? And he was not going for any kind of a superficial or supernatural explanation. Second is Aristotle. Now, Aristotle also was a Greek philosopher, and he was a father of scientific methodology. He was a father of scientific methodology because he invented the scientific methodology while doing a detailed analysis of or detailed study of logics. I'm not going to too much of depth because that is not required. Okay, I'm going to focus more on this part. Okay, that is stages in scientific method. Okay, so this is not new. This has some earlier background also. Now these are certain methods that I have written down, and these are the methods that have been suggested by Paul Horton and Chester Hunt. Okay, Paul Horton and Chester Hunt. Paul Horton and Chester Hunt, or you can say Horton and Hunt method. So they give precise methods or precise step by step that you need to follow to arrive at rational explanation for any kind of a phenomenon that is happening, just like for earthquake or for rain or for that matter. And these methods can also be applied. At least early sociologists, who were also known as positivists, they also believe that they can apply this whole methods, okay, step by step to study the society. And here all these methods are quite easy. Let's have a look at all these methods, all these steps one by one. First is identification and defining of the problem. Suppose Durkheim conducted a study on the suicide. Okay, so he first identified that suicide is indeed a major problem in his era in Europe, and he defined the suicide. What exactly is suicide? Okay, so proper definition he gave with respect to suicide. After that, he reviewed the literature, okay, with respect to, like, if anybody has conducted an experiment on the suicide earlier. So basically, how the research has been conducted earlier, plus is or was there any error in conducting the experiment? So that error could not be repeated in this particular present research. Okay, then formulate the hypothesis. Hypothesis is basically a kind of a tentative statement that proposes a relationship between two or more variables that are under investigation. Okay, so here suppose Durkheim was conducting a study on suicide, so basically he'll also propose kind of a hypothesis that suicide is related with poverty. Okay, it is related with poverty. I'm just telling you a hypothesis kind of a thing. Two variables, suicide and poverty. Okay, and then he'll try to find out a relationship whether suicide is indeed connected with poverty or not. Okay, or the people who are poor, they are prone to more suicide, or you can say suicide is connected with alcoholism, or suicide is connected with mental sickness. Okay, next is plan the research design. That here you make a blueprint of research design, that how you want to conduct the research. Okay, what are the statistical tool, like what are the tools that you're going to use to conduct a research. Just like suppose if you want to design your house, first you'll select like in which city you want to make a design, which city you want to make your house, Within that city also, which is the area where you want to make a house. Okay, then you go for, you know, what kind of a design that house should have. Okay, how many rooms it should have, whether how much big the parking lot should be. So this is how you can make a blueprint, right? After that, you use that statistical tools, okay, to collect the data. Just like you can talk about statistical tool of like survey, questionnaire, all those things you can talk about. Then you analyze the data. Once you have the data, to get a proper information out of that data, you start analyzing it. Suppose you have made this hypothesis, so you start analyzing the data, whether your hypothesis is backed up by the data that you've collected or not. In case it is backed up by the data, so you retain this hypothesis, or else you reject this hypothesis, you make a new hypothesis. After that, you arrive at law-like generalization. Just like Durkheim says, that's for suicide, it is indirectly related to the degree of solidarity. Degree of solidarity. Okay, if people are united in the society, they are coming together and they are not jealous of each other, they are coming together, they are helping each other in the time of distress. So the society will ultimately will be, you know, will be down in the society. Okay, and then replicate the study. Replicate the study by the other researchers in the similar condition, so that it can produce the same result. In the other sense, there is a reliability. That's what I said. Reliability means reproducibility. Okay, so this was all about the steps or stages in scientific method that was given by none other than Paul Horton and Chester Hunt. Okay, so I talked about today what is science. I have given the features or the characteristics of the science, as well as the steps or the stages of scientific methodology. Now, if you want to know more about how the scientific methodology was criticized by various thinkers, okay, overall criticism of the scientific methodology, plus you know, what is positivism, what are the criticism of positivism, what are the features, what are the, you know, advantage of positivism. Okay, so for that you can join our sociology optional foundation course that we are providing at a very nominal cost. Okay, so thank you and all the best.